morning, Lutando. Roche, welcome. Is that Roche Channing? Welcome to Barney. Hello, Yichona. Or Chichona, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly. Good to see you, Roche. Glad that you're online. We haven't chatted for a while. We need to get together for a lunch, bud. Welcome, Benson. Master of multitasking. Yes, you know that's the way it's done, eh? I'm glad I found a way to spend my hour or so that I drive to work when there's no traffic. So yeah, welcome, guys. I'm glad you're all here. I think the one thing that I can take away from yesterday's chat, obviously there was a lot of traffic and it was a really long drive to the office, but I did notice that I think it might have been a little bit long-winded. So I think today what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try and stick to like 10 or 15 minutes. I don't want to go too far over that amount of time, and that's why I gave you guys a heads up, just to say, I'm doing another live drive session this morning, but I'm going to try and keep it a bit shorter than yesterday. Yesterday ended up being like 50 minutes long. Adrian, welcome. Jerome, welcome, guys. So I'm going to be taking questions, any questions with regards to trading or myself or my history of trading, anything like that. I think that these sessions can become informative, and I think that we can all connect a little bit better. You guys can get to know me better, I can get to know you better. Welcome, Peter. And I think we can answer some important questions that traders and our clients have, and hopefully we can get to a place where everyone gets some answers. So let's hear it, guys. If you've got any questions for me, let's get the show on the road. Let's answer some questions. Like I said, I'm going to give today about 15 minutes, and then we'll call it a morning. So I'm going to do like a 15-minute session when I do the live drive. Yesterday ended up being a little bit long. So let's go with it, guys. Seems like there's a community out there. There most definitely is. There's a big community of traders out there, and I think the one thing that we don't do very well is connect, and that's why we're going to do these live drive sessions. So we're all going to connect with each other. Please save these talks so we watch them. Maybe delete it after a day or two. They are actually posted on my YouTube channel as well, so you can Tobani, you can go and check the chats there. What's the dumbest thing that newcomers as FX traders do? Thank you for the first question. Thames, I'm guessing that's Thames. The dumbest thing that new traders do is think that they can make R1 million overnight. Greed is the biggest killer in this game, guys, and there's absolutely no doubt in my mind that is why most traders who are unsuccessful is because they get greedy. You've got to start at a place where you understand risk before you just put it all on the table. There's a bad rep out there for Forex in general and for trading in general, because guys just risk way too much when they start trading, and they lose their initial investment over and over and over again. So what you've got to do is start with as much money as you can, as much money as you can afford, and trade the smallest lot size possible. So stick to a 0.01 lot size, trade that. Doesn't matter whether you've got 10,000 Rand in your account or 100,000 Rand in your account. Do that until you are consistently successful with your trades, and then start adjusting your lot size to suit your risk parameters, your risk tolerance. Most guys don't do that. Most guys just want to start with $1,000 and turn it into $1 million overnight. So in my opinion, that's the biggest thing that newbies get wrong. Welcome, Doc, my fellow EHS brother over there. I remember you from yesterday. So yeah, Tim's that I'm glad you're happy with that answer. I think that's the biggest thing. Let's hear the second question, guys. What do you have on your mind? What do you want to know? And like I said yesterday, just bear in mind this is an open platform. I'm an honest guy. I'm a straight shooter. You can ask me any questions you want to ask me, and I'll answer them as truthfully as I can. Welcome, Henry. Chess, welcome. Does the stock market college offer student loan? These sessions are more for chatting about trading itself, but I will answer that question. Stock Market College is the company that we refer all of our clients to from QuickTrade that need education, and they do have a finance option where you can finance the education, but with like any finance process, it can be challenging. They obviously check your credit record and things like that. So yes, it is an option, but you would have to go through, credit checks and things like that. Welcome, Israel. Yes, I'm very well, thanks, Doc. I'm waiting for the next question, guys. Do you use fib retracement to enter a position? Chess, most definitely. I am very big on using fib levels. I actually spoke about this yesterday. What I'm going to do is, I remember recording one a couple years ago on how to use Fibonacci, a video, but I haven't done that for some time. So I'm definitely going to do a new one on how I use fibs. What do you think about the dip in Brent we had last night? Draadgas. Ek weet wie jy is. So I think that it's a relief dip, because we experiencing, the same thing in gold. We're also seeing people pull out of sort of safe havens and go back into indexes, but I do see that as a relief rally at this point in time. I think that we're still in for a little bit more downside. And just bear in mind, guys, this is obviously my own opinion. This is not information that is to be construed as advice. This is my personal opinion. I think this is a relief rally, and I'm waiting to see what happens with the Federal Reserve interest rate meeting next week. Wednesday, the 16th, I think it is. So 16th, 17th, that's where we'll see some action in the market. I believe a 25 basis point rate hike has already been priced into the market. So if there is a 25 point basis hike, there might be a little spike to the downside, and then a move, I believe, further up. But if there's a 50 basis point hike, which is more than what has been priced in my opinion, we might see a bigger push down, and that could breach the retracement levels that we're currently sitting at on the indexes, and it'll push oil up, it'll push gold up. Also, obviously, the war between Russia and the Ukraine is having a big effect on oil pricing. So that will have, peace talks there will have an effect on what happens. Putin pulls out of the war, then oil will come back down. Do you think the market structure is respected on lower time frame on Nasdaq? So Bonnie, market structure works on all time frames. The reason why I trade bigger time frames is because it takes out all the noise. So when you go down to smaller time frames like the 5 minute or the 15 minute, you have to be very, very accurate with your structure setups, because they happen so quickly. Like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave setup can happen extremely fast, and it's something that you've got to be sitting in front of the charts all day to see, which is something that I can't do. I have too many other responsibilities, and I can't stare at my charts all day. And not only that, but I'm a longer term trader. I find that it's more accurate. So structure does work on all time frames. I prefer using it on bigger time frames because it's more easy to identify and to see and to execute on. Welcome, Ruan. Raskusin, welcome. Dylan, good to see you here. Pumla, welcome. Olivia, I also saw you join, so welcome to the session. I'm going to be taking questions for about another 10 minutes or so, and then we'll call it a day. So let's move on to the next trading question. Alien, welkom terug. Goeiemôre. Ek hoop jy is nie alleen vanoggend nie. Who's got a trading question for me, or any question you'd like to ask, market related or related to my experience on the markets? Do you analyze the 4 hour to get bigger picture? So I actually analyze the weekly and the daily time frame, and I execute on the 4 hour. So I analyze the really big time frames in terms of structure and direction and trend, and then I execute my entries based on the 4 hour. So in other words, if I see a structure on the daily time frame and the break is in the direction of the trend on the weekly, I can use a 4 hour trigger to enter my position. Hope that answers the question. Who else has a question for me? Welcome, Faisal. So we're just having a chat here live on Instagram. I'm going to start doing this very often on my way to work. It's a nice way for me to kill the time and also be productive and engage with my community. There is a big community of traders out there, and I think we need to engage more than what we do. Do you ever scalp? I like that question, Mr. Chetty. I prefer not to. I believe that scalping, because you're in and out of the market so often, actually increases your cost of trading in order to make the same amount of profits you can if you were in longer term setups. And it also increases your risk because once you're in a profitable position on a longer term trade, you can put your stop loss in a profitable position and let it run. And you can add into that trade, so thereby building on your positive position over time. So scalping for me is where I started trading. I did relatively well with it, but I found that one loss out of the 10 would cancel out like 5 or 6 of the profits. So it was a 2-step forward, 2-step back kind of game with scalping, and I prefer to look at longer term setups. I also don't have time to spend on the charts all day. So I prefer to trade longer term setups. Hope that answers that question. I did see 1 or 2 questions go past there that I wasn't able to read in time, and I can't page back obviously because I'm driving. So if you want to just post your question again, I'd appreciate it. Edgar, welcome. TK, Luiso, welcome guys. We're just chatting live on Instagram regarding trading. I've got a few more minutes on the session that I'm going to do. What is the best way to tell if the market is about to change its directional bias? That's a very good question. There's two ways of doing that, obviously. The first way would be understanding fundamentals in the market. For example, like interest rates, inflation, that type of thing. If you know whether or not the fundamental effects on the market are going to be positive or negative for various instruments, you can use that. Or alternatively, you can use technical strategies to determine reversal points in the market. I like to use two standard, pretty standard forms of instruments to help me see overbought and oversold areas in the market, and that's the RSI and momentum. I combine those two areas to get very nice entries, and obviously I average into positions like I said yesterday. Rajev, I'm very well. How are you doing? So yeah, guys, I average into positions. I use extremely overbought and oversold areas to start looking for entries, and I trade small lot sizes on a large account so that I can average into trades and not risk more of my account than what I'm willing to risk. What is your watch list for today? So to be honest with you, I've taken the decision to stay away from commodities and indexes until the Fed meets next week, because dependent on whether it's a 25 basis point or a 50 basis point rate hike, I will know which way the market's going to move from there in terms of commodities and indexes. Currencies are a little bit different because different currencies are affected by different things. So I am keeping my eye on a couple of exotic pairs, not necessarily USD based pairs at the moment, and that's because the dollar is obviously very affected by what happens next week. Most currencies will be affected, but some less than others. So essentially I'm not too keen on trading before the Fed meeting next week. What are thoughts on using stochastic for observing divergence? Divergence for me is more a confirmation of what you're already seeing. So if you've got a structure breakout that you have been waiting for, I mentioned yesterday that I'm a wolf wave trader. I love trading wolf waves. If you don't know what a wolf wave is, you should go and check up on it. But if you've got a structure break that's happening and it confirms, and the divergence that you're seeing on a stochastic confirms that break, it helps you to confirm the entry for your trade. I don't enter trades just based on divergence. Structure to me is more important. How do you handle drawdown? So I trade small lot sizes on a large account, and what I do is I average into my trades. That's how I handle my drawdowns. So for example, let's say I entered the NASDAQ. I do actually have a trade on the NASDAQ at the moment, around about the 13,500, or was it 14,000 mark, somewhere around there, as a long. It's a small position that I have open. And depending on what I see over, the end of this week especially, and then the beginning of next week, and obviously after the Fed, I will look at adding into that position. So what that does is that actually brings down my overall entry. Sorry guys, there's a car that just made a funny move in front of me. I'm just making sure that I don't get in his way. But that's how I handle drawdowns. I prefer to average into positions to bring my overall entry down, and that helps me to mitigate and manage my drawdowns actively. Do you do trading as a full-time customer? Yes, I trade full-time. I am also the business development manager at QuickTrade. But yes, I do trade full time. What do you want for dinner? My wife is also on the chat asking me what I want for dinner. That's cool. I like that. So Linton, let's say the Fed do hike rates next week. Do you think from your past experience the dollar might rally? Look, easing is an interesting thing because it's always open to interpretation. The thing depends on how quickly or how slowly the easing is done. That's the very important part. So the faster they raise interest rates, the bigger effect it'll have in terms of hawkish or dovish effect on the market. So if it's a 25 basis point hike, that's already been priced into the market. I don't believe that there'll be a hell of a big influence from that, and we'll start seeing normal market conditions resume. If there's a 50 basis point hike, it'll be a faster effect than what's been priced into the market, and we'll see much more volatility in price. Yes, we can definitely get together. You can contact me via Discord directly. Discord, there's a link in my bio on Instagram, and that link actually gives you access to my server on Discord, and there's various things that I share there, market analysis, trade ideas. I've recently started the server, so it's very cool. So you can contact me directly there, and we can set up a meeting, no problem. Do any customer support vacancies at QuickTrade? Not at this point in time. But do send me a message through Discord. You can join Discord via the link in my profile, and we can chat about your experience and that type of thing. And when we are looking to expand, which we will be doing, then we can consider you. Any other trading related questions? I'm almost ready to call it a day. What was the cause for the oil drop yesterday? So obviously the oil price is currently very attached to what's going on between Russia and the Ukraine. So the second there's some relief in what is expected to happen in the war, the oil price will drop. Russia is obviously very, very big in terms of their oil production, etc. So the war is what's having the effect there. Also, we saw the same thing on gold. I mean, gold is a safe haven. There was a massive surge in price and then a really big pull-off yesterday. And that can be for similar reasons. We saw a big push back up in the indexes because of the fact that people are pulling out of safe haven, going back into index markets. But like I said earlier, I think that's just a relief rally, and I think that there's still further downside to come. I don't think Putin is quite done with his war just yet. I'm going to take one more question, guys, and then we'll call it a morning, and then I'll see you on the next live drive with Linton. So post one more question regarding trading. I'll answer that, and then we'll say cheers, and everyone will have a good day. Welcome, guys. For those of you who have just joined, we're just answering some questions live. I've got one more question to go, and then we're going to call it a day. I don't trade fundamentals. Sorry, I missed that question. If you can post it again. Antwoord jou vrou wat jy soek om te eet. Liefie, ek soek altyd vir dit. Jy weet dit mos. One more trading based question, and then we're going to call it a day, guys. So if you can pop a question on there, I'll answer it, and then we'll move on. Thanks for keeping me company so far. This does help me quite a lot to get through the traffic in the morning. Thanks for joining, Tumza. Mbongiseni, thanks for joining. You're a little bit late. We're going to answer one more question and then call it a day. Tyson, welcome. I'm looking for one more question to answer, guys. Thanks for joining, Daniel. What is the best way to trade fundamentals? Okay, so fundamentals is a double-edged sword, to Bonnie, and the reason for that is because you've really got to be in the know to understand fundamentals properly. I'll use NFP as an example. NFP is a situation where they measure non-farm payrolls, and non-farm payrolls measures the amount of jobs that were created over a specific period of time, well, over a month, and then also it measures the employment rate. So, you know, if the States creates more jobs than anticipated, that's good for the dollar, yes. But if the average unemployment rate goes up, it means that there are fewer people employed, which means that that's negative for the dollar. So, you know, a lot of people just look at the jobs created and think, oh, that was good for the dollar, but why is the price not doing what I thought it should do? And it's because you've got to understand all the different factors of that specific fundamental in order to understand how to execute on fundamental trading. So you've really got to be in the know with fundamentals. You've got to know what's going on with the war in Russia and Ukraine. You've got to know which countries are joining it, how that impacts their international trade. For example, in South Africa, we're going to see an increase in the fuel price due to the oil situation. Also, you know, diesel is going to be affected. So the global economic effects of this war are huge, and if you don't understand them properly, I wouldn't suggest trading purely based on fundamentals. Having a rudimentary understanding of fundamentals and then applying technical levels to that is the way forward. Combining Fibonacci levels in wave trading is how I do it. Guys, thank you very much for joining me today. You've helped me kill about half of my trip on the way to work, and I'll be sharing this video shortly for anyone that wants to go and rewatch it or have a look at the questions and answers that they missed. I think this is a good platform for us to connect a bit better than what we've been doing in the past. So yeah, thanks for joining, and have a really awesome day further. Have a good day, guys. Cheers.
Work.